Nityanandam, thank you for tuning in. So this is the third part actually, third part of a series of videos I'm making, where I'm sharing the truth about the legal persecution of uh, our beloved Swamiji. Actually, even just to think about it, it's not pleasant, but that is nothing can be done. At least I can share the truth. So today I'm going to talk about the false rape allegation. See, first of all, the High Court quashed a part of this false rape case. Actually, the rape case no more exists. Now the whole thing is about uh, the people who said they were raped. They are actually defending themselves. The CID who filed the charge sheet, they are in the soup. They don't know how to, explain themselves in the court. The CID is getting blasted, I can say, by the judiciary. And so I'll share the link about the High Court judgment which quashed a part of the case. Another thing is, in Ohio Civil Court, as I have already mentioned in several of my videos, I'll tell you the case number actually. So on 6th August 2014, United States District Southern Southern District Court of Ohio issued a judgment against Mrs. Aarti S. Rao, the person who posed as a rape victim, and in favor of Nityananda Dhyanapitham. And the case number is 2:13-CV-00526. I will try to download the original because this I think will be accessible in the public domain. I'll try to download the original judgment. And she was fined nearly $500,000 for false public statements. What is a false public statement? That she was raped. Just like that. Stupid, some nonsense they are sharing. Right, and another part of the story is Swamiji is impotent. What do we mean by vascular impotency? So I'll share you a Wikipedia link. You can check erectile dysfunction. I know this is like really personal details, and in fact, what Supreme Court was saying, they didn't wanted to do the test because it is a violation of the dignity of the person who is being tested. But it is Swamiji, with his compassion and consideration, that he was okay with the thing, which is a big deal. By I don't know how to cognize it. How Swamiji could go through all this, physical abuse and whatever. So anyway, Swamiji went through the test. See, understand, if somebody questions me, let's say me, hey, you are Sarvarupa, you are not a man. Am I going to open my clothes and say, see, I am a man? It is stupid. That is just abusing myself, literally. So going through this kind of a test is not exactly that, so why do we have to go through all this harassment? It is just so that people understand very clearly the truth. So what was found in the test? Swamiji has only 12.5 milligram per deciliter of testosterone, which is 5% of the lowest level in adult males. What does it mean? Let me explain. Let's say an adult male, for him, the testosterone level is around 20 times of 12 would be 250 grams, or let's round it up to 100. So let's say 100 milligram per deciliter. For an adult, it is 100 decigram per milligram per deciliter, 100, and that is a lower limit. So it can be 100 to 1000. So 100 to 1000 is the normal range of testosterone. Let's just say as a notional thing. This is not the exact value. I think the exact value is around 250 to 500. But let's say, for the ease of numbers, to explain what the significance of this information is, The normal level of a testosterone of a adult male human being is 100 milligram per deciliter to 500 milligram per deciliter. Swamiji's testosterone level is only 5, which means 5% of the lower limit, not 5% of this range, which is 100 to 500, not 5% of this range, 5% of the lower limit. And it is so less, it is even lesser than newborn babies. Okay, let me just check yeah, it is lower than, it is 16% lower than the testosterone observed in healthy adult women. It's like you're like here you're male and this is female, so it's going down the male side going towards the female side. So low, it is so low. And there is a science behind it, because enlightened masters, they go beyond gender. It's not like they are genderless or they are transgender. It is that they are transcendental gender, which we call Ardhanareshwari. So if you refer to the Shastras and understand the Ardhanareshwari concept, you will be able to understand the enlightened masters are beyond gender. But to show this, because of legal dispute, I don't know how we are treating our enlightened masters. And what, as a devotee also, I feel, how it is happening in front of us. See, because you have to understand, the body of an enlightened master is like a baby. You cannot have what would not bother a normal person is very painful for an enlightened master. And I don't know how would somebody feel if your father had to go through all this. So I'll continue sharing. Around 275,000 cases of rape registered in India in last decade, in last 10 years. This is the only case of rape where there was no victim mentioned. How can you have a rape case without a victim? I always ask people this basic question. They have no answer. If I tell you the exact dates, and I have reference, I'm not talking in the air. I have media reference, articles, and we have seen it happening. It's not a new thing. How they registered a case, that itself is something which, the police needs to answer, and which they found it difficult to answer in the courts. 2nd March 2010, the video came out. 29th March, the police makes an appeal for witnesses. So they are asking, if you are a rape victim, come out in the open. Have you ever heard anything like that happening? So like this, let's say I want to sue, let's say I don't, just like that, I can sue anybody and say that, oh, and put a news article, have you been raped, have you been killed by this person? Please come to the police station and help us put this, do something about it. Have you ever heard anything like that? When terrorists who have known to put bombs in the parliament, they are celebrating their glory like anything, these media prostitutes. And for masters, they have all their guns ready. Why is that they are so passionate about terrorists? When terrorists die, they make such a big show out of it. And the people of the country don't even bother. I have no answer for what cognition people are carrying. I went to a friend of mine, and he's from some other religion, and he was from the same religion as the terrorist. As such, they claim that terrorism has no religion, but officially, as per what he declares as his religion, is the same as this friend claimed his religion to be. I have seen, this is not a religious topic. I just want to share our perspective about media. And if you are very, so anyhow, that friend of mine, he was feeling that the terrorist was tried by the court for a decade, almost a decade, and a decision came to hang him, was completely religiously motivated. 10 years you take for a judgment, and then you have a doubt that on the integrity of the judiciary. Why? And that person killed hundreds of people of all religion, including your religion. With what context are you supporting him? How much the media messes up with your brain? Why do you go on the streets and cheer for terrorists? Have you lost your mind? Do you have even an ounce of common sense? I just told him one line. See, this person killed people of all religions. In that 200, even your religion people are there. On what basis are you supporting a murderer? He had no answer. He said he had no answer. If with such baby logic I can complete his doubt, then understand the level of stupidity the media is feeding. If they had some good ideological conviction, he should have done a debate with me. But with 1 or 2 lines, he's convinced. What does that mean? So for enlightened masters, you will get all your guns. And okay, let me give you a benefit of doubt. First of all, he's not even just an enlightened master. He's an incarnation. For us, he's Sadashiva. For you, however you cognize, that's your problem. Would you see? That is up to you how you see. But what right do you have to spread such nonsense? Just because you have a TV camera and you have a big mouth, you can say anything. Anyhow, continuing. So, I'm sorry, I'm just getting the exact dates of every occurrence which happened. So, 29th March, the police put an appeal on television, newspaper, social media for victims to come on, and 21st April, Swamiji was arrested. So, without a victim or without a substantial case being built up, they arrested. And that arrest was termed illegal by the Supreme Court, obviously. I have not seen any politician get, see, one thing you have to appreciate, the media has a lot of power. If without a rape victim and without a rape case and without anything, they can get a person, enlightened master, arrested, they surely have a lot of power. If they do a proper factual reporting, terrorists, criminals and corrupt people can be stopped at a very large scale. See, I'm just thinking out loud. If you can, without building up any case against anything, you don't have any substantial factual information, nothing. See, for a rape case, you should have a rape victim at least, yeah, common sense. Even without that, you can get somebody arrested. Means what? Just imagine if the same effort, time, energy and life they had put on something more constructive, how much better it would be for the nation. But this is what they like. They get money, they get they have an extortion mindset, because that is what the CEO told, that they did it for extortion. And around 17th August, so April, May, June, July, 4 months later, Aarti Rao says that no, I am the victim. And from there the story starts. Because the case was getting squashed, because there is no victim, on what basis can you file a case? See, impotency does not matter. Vascular impotency does not matter. Testosterone level, nothing matters for them. Just the fact that I have a TV camera and I have a shitty mouth, matters. And that is what everybody believes. There's no respect for law and order of the country, no respect for what the Supreme Court is saying, no respect for what Ohio Court is saying. People just want to believe blindly. And further, FBI, in their FBI Academy specialist on infectious disease, Dr. McLaury, categorically stated in his detailed report, I'll give you a reference of that, after analyzing the medical reports of Swamiji as well as the conspirer, that I'll just tell you the essence. It is impossible for someone to rape her for 5 years. He's clearly telling categorically it is impossible for someone to rape her for 5 years. Why is that? Because Aarti Rao has dangerous sexually transmitted diseases. She's a carrier of them for many years. So it is impossible for somebody to rape her and not catch those diseases. I'm repeating, the kind of diseases which she has are so dangerous they can spread even by saliva. And forget rape, even by saliva that disease can spread. And the FBI, FBI specialist on infectious diseases is telling it is impossible, not even highly impossible, it is impossible for somebody to rape her for 5 years and not catch the disease. And actually it was in 2015 that she changed a statement telling that she was not raped. In Supreme Court she has already changed her statement. So on what basis are you believing her? I don't know. Right. And I think I covered this point that 78% of the rape cases are false. And finally, one thing I want to mention, that there was a guy, a false rape case had been filed against him. His family, many of them committed, I don't know if they committed suicide or they went missing. And some of his children were sent to orphanages. And he was put behind bars for 7 years. The whole trial he was behind bars for 7 years until the fact came out that he never did the rape. And now he was asking permission to the president, the judiciary, to end his life. That means commit suicide. So for 7 years somebody was implicated, the whole trial. He was in bars, behind the bars for 7 years, and we come to the realization, the judiciary in the whole process, there is a very cumbersome process in India, they come to the realization that the rape never happened. And now he wants to commit suicide. He says that justice was not served to me. I don't encourage obviously what he's saying, that he should commit suicide. He should stand up and set an example for the society. But just look at it. What kind of society are we building? It could be your father tomorrow. I shouldn't be saying that. I apologize for that. But just imagine how would it feel. So this is it for today's video. I'll be coming back with more information regarding all the religious persecution, and page by page I would cover each and every chapter of the whole thing which happened. So that is it for now. Thank you for tuning in. Nityanandam.